Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Hutch and Huber podcast. We kept our promise. It's Tuesday again. We've already done one episode, hoping to get more than 4 done, which was 2 years ago. But today we got some more exciting topics to talk about. I know you all were just salivating at the mouth for this episode.
Some of you never thought that you'd see this day. Some of you thought that we'd stop after one, that we weren't committed. But some of you were wrong. Here we are again.
It'd been 22 months, I believe, since in between podcasts from Season 1, Episode 4, and our last podcast. But now it's only been 1 week since our previous podcast, so we're doing a lot better this time around.
That's right. We just be podcasting now. It's what we do.
We got some exciting stuff coming up for you. Maybe some really good guest appearances on the way, in the works.
Should have some articles going up on the website soon, so stay tuned on the Twitter. We'll be tweeting out the links, things like that. So we'll get going on this Episode 2 of Season 2, Hutch and Huber podcast. First topic we have today, I'll introduce it, is basically, as you all know, Huber's an IU fan. I am a UK fan. If for Sterling, IU, and if for me, UK, basically decided today that for whatever reason they were going to stop their basketball program, who would you then cheer for?
Well, there's some factors that go into this. Like, obviously, how good they are right now and how good they have been in the past, who their coach is, what kind of play style they have or what they're known for, and also location. So, like,
for sure,
I'm not going to pick anyone. You know, maybe I would have picked Duke, which I didn't. But they're far away, and I probably would catch a lot of hate from our 48 subs.
And for myself.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have been allowed to say anything on the show today if I chose Duke. But I chose Michigan State for a few reasons. One, because Tom Izzo is one of my favorite college basketball coaches of all time. Two,
I agree.
Their mascot, Sparty, is by far my favorite mascot. He's the most ripped mascot to have ever existed. And he's just cool, being a Spartan.
This is SportsCenter commercial with the Michigan State and the Rutgers Scarlet Knight mascot when the protein shake blender is my personal favorite. This is SportsCenter commercial.
That's up there for me. And also, I mean, they're just good. They're good at basketball. It's not like they're not even that. It's not even that they're mediocre. They're always pretty much good. Even if they're not in like the preseason top 10, they always make deep tournament runs. And Tom Izzo is always making the Final Four. And also a connection from IU. I'm kind of a big Tom Crean fan, even though IU fired him. But Tom Crean, he was an assistant. Big Creany Tom fan too. But Crean's a Izzo disciple. He was an assistant coach at Michigan State for, I believe, 5 years in the 90s. So a lot of the things that Crean did at IU for those, I think, 9 or 10 years came from Tom Izzo's play style. So you could say Michigan State, there's a little Michigan State ingrained in the way IU played for a while there. But that's the reason for me. And the Izzone, one of the best student sections too. And I wanted to stay in the Big Ten because I just like the Big Ten in general, and it's always competitive.
That's all fair. I can deal with that. I mean, I like Michigan State too. You said they I like Izzo, and I'm an Izzo guy, but you said they always make deep tournament runs unless I pick them to win the national championship, and then they lose to Middle Tennessee State in the first round.
Well, and I also wanted to add, I love talking about this because if IU ended their basketball program today, I wouldn't be all that mad if I had to choose a new team to cheer for. Now, Bryce, being a Kentucky fan, would be very, very, very upset. Now, I would be too, obviously. I'm a diehard IU fan, but I wouldn't be I wouldn't be too upset if I had to just be allowed to choose whatever team choose whatever team I wanted to cheer for, and not get any backlash for it. Because if I just started cheering for Michigan State now, then people would be like, "Oh, I thought you're not a U fan. What do you do? They're terrible." I just wanted to make that.
Yeah,
point.
obviously I would be furious. I would, but it's a hypothetical. So I would still have Kentucky football, and I'm a baseball guy, so Kentucky football and baseball and all other sports to cheer for. And Kentucky football, Mark Stoops, they're on the up and up. Could be an SEC East title, coming up soon in the next few years. But
maybe
college basketball is the sport that's most important to me. It's my favorite sport to watch.
It's what
out of all of the sports in the land.
Out of all the thousands of topics we talk about here on Hutch and Huber, this college basketball is our favorite.
No doubt.
We did a 2K simulation.
We do have a wide spectrum of topics.
Yeah,
we're very diverse.
A large basket, a cornucopia, you might say.
So, if I did have to pick a new team, I thought about Butler because one of the things Stir mentioned was location, and you want to be able to go to the games, every once in a while. And Butler's close enough, but the main reason I like Butler is Brad Stevens, and he's gone. He's not coming back, so I don't think I'm going to go with Butler.
You're a big Celtics guy, too.
I'm a big Celtics guy. I'm a big Brad Stevens guy. So I'll stick in the same conference. I'll stick in the Big East. That's another plus. I like the Big East tournament. A lot of history there. I'm going to go with Jay Wright and the Villanova Wildcats. Number one, they've been successful. Number two, color's a big thing for me. I could never, ever cheer for a red team.
Yeah.
So I like Chris Beard at Texas Tech, which we'll talk about him later. But could never cheer for a red and black team. So I do love the blue on blue, Villanova. And Jay Wright, I love Jay Wright's style as a coach. It's kind of similar to how people think of Popovich and the Spurs. I think they move the ball so well. They get open looks. Typically have good shooting teams, which I enjoy watching. Kind of the opposite of Cal right now. We need some shooters. But, I'll go with Villanova.
Can Coach Cal give us a call? We can still commit.
So now, a spin-off of that, what if...
Well, also I wanted to add about the Big East. I feel like the Big East, only basketball is the only sport in the Big East.
That's very true. So it makes it like a special kind of environment.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else. Basketball's the only bragging rights thing for the fans, so great crowds in the Big East.
Because for the SEC and the Big Ten too, great basketball, great football, obviously.
Right.
And then pretty good baseball too. Yeah. Obviously, the SEC is the best in baseball. And the Big
SEC basketball is kind of mediocre, but
Big Ten baseball is not great.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Big East, it's all basketball, baby.
Yeah.
Kind of Northeast. That's where it's at. Villanova also being a Catholic university. I'm a big fan of that as well, myself. Mm-hmm. So then, great segue, you brought up the other sports. If IU/UK canceled all of their sports programs, then who are you going with? Because, some different things to think about now.
Yeah. Now, with Michigan State, their football program is not great right now.
It's pretty good, though.
Indiana should have beat them this year.
Indiana should have beat a lot of teams the last few years.
Yep. It's us against
Same with Kentucky. We should have beat Florida about 4 years in a row now. We got one.
Anyway, with Michigan State, that's a long way away. I don't know how many games I'd be able to get to. So I feel like a clear choice for me here is Notre Dame because their basketball program isn't great either. They're in the ACC, right?
Yeah.
Not right? Yeah.
That's almost just as far away, but okay.
Yeah. But it's still not.
I mean, it's a little closer.
Yeah.
It's like a couple hours closer.
Yeah. But their football program obviously is amazing. They made the national championship
8 years ago.
Yeah. But still, I mean, that's still pretty recent.
Yeah.
And they're always making the the New Year's Bowls. They're in the top 25. They're literally have that contract with NBC Sports. and the NBC plays them every week. So, I mean, Notre Dame, like, top of the top or just below the top for football, and basketball is still pretty good. They make the tournament, but that's kind of what IU's been.
Mike Bray.
It's just, But
yeah.
But they're very, very, I mean, they're in the state of Indiana. Catholic too, so.
You got one downside, you're going to have to deal with a lot of Manti Te'o's girlfriend jokes.
I do find those very, very funny. I probably still have some Manti Te'o memes saved from when I was about 8th grade in my camera roll. Especially, there's one, this guy, he had his arm around just the air, and he said, "I'm Teoing."
That's classic. I almost went with Notre Dame myself, but we can't choose the same
We
team.
can't agree on the show.
I mean, that's no fun. I mean, we gotta have some division. So I'm gonna go with the team that's in the same conference, so that my team can play your team every year, in all the sports. And it's gonna surprise a lot of people with me being a Cats fan, but I'm gonna go down there in the Tar Heel country. Gonna go down Tobacco Road, and I'm gonna go with the North Carolina Tar Heels. It's kind of similar to Kentucky, honestly.
You a big Mitch Trubisky fan?
Not really, but I mean, I don't have strong feelings either way.
Would you have drafted him over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson?
I don't know. I'm not a big NFL guy, so North Carolina, I think, is kind of like not a miniature Kentucky, but they're kind of like the second best at a lot of things Kentucky does.
No, second best Kentucky.
Yeah.
Basketball
program is great. It's not as good as Kentucky's, but it's great. And then their football programs are similar. Ups and downs, never great, but you have some good years, bowl games. But really, I'm a baseball guy too, and they have a great baseball program. So if I get the basketball and the baseball, I like Roy Williams, which might be controversial for Kentucky fans, but I don't feel like it's really a rivalry anymore with Kentucky and North Carolina. They don't play that often. They play once every 3 years, and I don't know. We have much bigger problems with Duke, which is another thing.
I was gonna say Kentucky and Duke is a much bigger rivalry now.
No doubt. And the other great thing about North Carolina being in the ACC, I still get to hate Duke, and I still get to hate Louisville. We still play Louisville every year, so I get to keep the same rivalries.
And you get to keep a rivalry with me.
Correct. I don't want to hate Notre Dame, though. I love Notre Dame.
True. But we can still have, it wouldn't be about IU and
Still
Kentucky.
bragging rights.
We can make an alternate podcast about Notre Dame and North Carolina.
Yeah, somewhere in an alternate universe, there's a Hutch and a Huber cheering for Notre Dame.
Somewhere outside the Milky Way.
Anyways, moving on. We've exhausted that topic. So, if you're building a college basketball program, would you rather your program and kind of a coaching style, would you rather be built around offense or defense?
Well, I know what you're going to say. For myself personally, now would you say from an athletic director standpoint, like AD standpoint, or like a fan standpoint? Or does it matter?
I mean, either way, I don't think it matters. You still want success. Fans act like they should be the AD a lot, so.
Well, us being IU and UK fans, being on Twitter, we know. But
very true.
I know what you're gonna say, and I know why you're gonna say it. But I'm a big offensive guy.
We've had this debate before.
I love offense. Like, I can't watch Virginia basketball at all.
I love Virginia basketball.
See, I can't watch that. And I know us playing in high school, our team was predicated on defense, which I love playing defense. Don't get me wrong, but but as a fan or an AD watching a game, I would much rather have my team be an offensive team than be a defensive oriented team. But playing though, I have nothing against being a good defensive team because you want to win, you want to be good at defense, and I don't mind it. I love getting steals, I love getting stops, love taking charges. Things of that nature. Being a Rhino.
Well, Stir, your team, you're gonna enjoy watching your team. Your fans are gonna be happy. You know, they're gonna get up tempo, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yes,
but,
I play up.
my team's gonna win. Tell you what, my team, and you know what, the fans are gonna be happy, and they're gonna love watching it when we're winning. So I actually think that if I could choose to be better at offense or defense, I think you definitely take offense. It's if you just have one singular team, I think that it's more important to be good at offense than to be good at defense if you really want to be a great team. But as far as coaching style, I think you go with defense because it's easier to. I mean, offense is about players, so it's harder to teach guys to be good at offense.
Yeah.
Defensively, if you have a good defensive coach, he can take great players. If he can recruit good offensive players, he can turn them into a good defensive unit.
Can you change a guy's motor? Or give him a motor if he doesn't have one?
In some cases, yes. But I mean, you don't recruit guys with bad motors then.
Yeah.
That problem's easily solved.
You recruit for offense too, obviously.
For the most part.
You don't say, hey, I'm gonna go get this lockdown defender who's not good at offense.
Sometimes you do, but well, yeah, offensive skills is the biggest thing you're recruiting outside of character and motor and things like that.
Like you're not gonna go recruit a guy who can't shoot but is really good at defense because you really can't play him.
Yeah, no, you can't. No. But yeah, I would rather have a defensive coach because year in and year out, you can have a great defense like Chris Beard at Texas Tech. But even if you're a great offensive coach, if you don't have the players, you're not going to be a great offensive team.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also for an offensive team, to make up another point, I'll say this from an AD standpoint. If you're like trying to market a team or your team, and you're Virginia and your leading scorer is Diakite or like Kyle Guy at like 13 points a game, and you're only scoring like 50 points a game as a team.
This is about to be a stupid argument.
Compared to Mark Fuse at Gonzaga, when you got like a bunch of guys, when you're scoring like 90 points a game, and it's a lot more up tempo, a lot more action. I'm saying that from an AD.
Easier to market.
Yeah.
You know what you market at Virginia? You market winning.
But
you say, remember a couple years ago when we won the national championship?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that hard to market.
But what about?
And I'm not saying that defense, I'm not like, oh, only defense wins championships. That's stupid. You got to have good offensive players, but you got to be good at both to win championships. And if you have a good defensive coach that can recruit great players, then you can have both.
Like Gonzaga went to the championship in 2017. I don't know.
Yeah, you can be great doing both things, but it's not hard. If you're good, you can market anything.
Yeah.
I'm not that worried about marketing, especially in college. I think marketing's more of a pro thing, where college I feel like has set fan bases for the most part, where you're going to have a lot more loyal fans who are going to come to the games no matter what. They're not going to stop being fans. You know, people who went there and stuff like that. I feel like marketing's not as big of a concern for me in college as it would be in pros.
And like when you're cheering, like when you have like a favorite player or whatever, like your favorite player is not the like defensive player.
Well,
or whatever.
Maybe it is. I'm a big Dominique Hawkins guy.
Well, not in most cases.
Well, in this case, people will find their favorite players, and ideally, you're still going to be a great offensive team. Yeah. But my argument is that there are great defensive coaches out there that can turn just about anybody into a good defensive team, good team defense, where that's much harder to do with offense. But I agree that offense is actually more important.
Because that's what you start with. That's what you have to have. Because you can't necessarily like teach it or like exponentially.
If you can't score, then you're not gonna succeed at a high level. You gotta have guys who can put the biscuit in the basket, Stir. That's what Stir did for us.
Get the puppies in order.
He had the puppies set off the bus in the title game. Anyways,
the Rebels didn't know what was hitting them. But
if Foster Mefford's listening to this podcast, shout out to you and your awful defense for giving up 20-something to Stir.
Shout out to your 33 points in the championship.
We probably shouldn't say that, but it's okay. We're retired. We're
We're
graduated.
alumni.
We're long gone.
No one
Nobody
cares.
remembers us
Nobody
anymore.
cares about us anymore.
Nobody remembers.
But anyway, I agree to that point about defense because you recruit for offense and you want to be a great offensive team first, and you can't win without scoring. But if you're just a good defensive team, then you can't really get any better at offense. But if you start out as a good offensive team, you can also get better at defense.
Yeah, that's my point. Chris Beard, by the way, if Cal were to, for some reason, leave for the NBA, Chris Beard would be at the top of my list. He's hot. He's hot on the market right now. I'm not sure. I mean, it would be a big drastic change in style for
They just got Mac McClung.
They did just get Mac McClung, yeah. I'm a big Chris Beard guy.
See, now Mac McClung's he's known for his dunks and his offense, but Chris Beard, he can turn him into
Mac McClung's known for much, though.
I mean, have you seen him on YouTube?
I have seen him on YouTube, but I don't know how many people have really seen him.
A lot.
Maybe a lot of kids our age, but
Everyone on social media. Maybe not the old guys. But see, Mac McClung's is like known for his offense and like his dunks, but Chris Beard can turn him into a good defensive player too and make him really good.
That's right.
Make him a good NBA player.
See, Texas Tech has been surprising. Texas Tech has great defense year in, year out, and if you just look at their talent, you're like, man, why are they in the Elite Eight every year, making runs, going to the title game? But they've had enough offense, and they've been so good at defense, so good at team defense that they've been able to make runs in the tournament.
What's that guy's name who was really good for him?
Culver?
Yeah, Jared Culver. If you take out Jared Culver, and then I guess Molinari, or whatever his name is.
I'm forgetting.
But those two guys, you know,
they don't win.
No.
But take away. But I don't think they win if Chris Beard's not their coach.
That's
either.
true.
I think Chris Beard, and his defensive philosophy and getting those guys to be a good defensive team is played a huge role in getting Texas Tech to make those deep tournament runs.
Sometimes coaches seem to be good, but really in reality, it's just because they have a lot of talent and they're just winning because.
Is that a jab at Calipari? I see he sneaks in a little Coach Cal jab at the end of the podcast.
But see,
some coaches seem terrible, and they are terrible. That's an Archie Miller jab.
At a Power 5 school, he is. Not mid-major.
Well, but I mean, the thing about that is Dayton has been good since he left. I mean, is Dayton just a?
But
he might have set the base for that.
Did he have an Obi Toppin?
No, but
like Obi Toppin.
But it seems like maybe everybody's good at Dayton. Dayton's just the best school in the conference. You go there, you win.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But he set the foundation for that.
He may have set the foundation. That's a good argument.
He took a kind of a scrub team to the Elite Eight, but that's pretty much all he's done.
So did Chris Beard. Twice. Well, that's going to be the end of this podcast. We're hitting the 24-minute mark here, so we'll wrap it up.
Don't want to exhaust your attention span, which probably
you
already
young
has
kids,
been. If you made it this far.
You young kids probably turned this off 10 minutes ago.
They probably turned it off before we even started our first topic at a minute and a half.
Let's see if we can get 50 subscribers here before next Tuesday.
Let's see if we can get two more.
Ending notes, Hutch and Huber at gmail.com. We'll start a mailbag segment if you guys send in some questions, some topics. And stay tuned for some new articles coming up on the website. Maybe some guest appearances on the podcast. We'll see what we have coming up.
We got some stuff in the works.
Maybe even some D1 commits. Not like Power 5 D1 commits, but maybe like a mid-major.
If you've been checking our Twitter, you know who it is.
All right. Peace out, homies. We'll see you next week.